Dave here, how are you? You just saw me create a 20mm dowel using the Veritas dowel maker. Now it's not metric, it's imperial, but I tricked it a little bit because you can tweak this. Stick with me and I'll show you how to set this up and how to make dowels from 1 inch all the way down through to a 1/4 inch. It will also do 1/16, but I haven't done that one yet. Now I must let you know that Veritas sent over the dowel maker and the insert set for me because I asked for them. The reason I asked for it was because one of my subscribers said, Dave, I've seen the dowel maker on the internet and it looks a bit daunting, but I've got no idea how to set it up. No one shows you how to set it up. All they do is show you someone pushing a piece of timber through that's square at one side, comes out round the other side. So I thought, there's a challenge, let's get into it. I'm going to pop a picture up of what you get with the Veritas dowel maker itself. It comes with a 1 inch bush at the end, and also the blades, the jig, manual, spanner, a blade setting piece, which is this guy here with a magnet in it. I'll put that there so the other camera can see it. Spanner, the large socket, and a drive, and 2 Allen keys. The blades already preset into the right depth. Now the front blade has got a round on it. That's how you can tell the difference. Now these are extremely sharp. Notice I'm pushing down like that. I'm not going the other way to cut me. And the back blade does not have a round. And they're set at different heights on the blade mount. They say that when the jig arrives, they have already been set. But I did take the blades off and reset them myself because it's easy to do. Now I'm going to show you how to do that as well in a minute, but we'll keep on talking about the jig. I've got the jig held down onto my bench. I've got it held down into a T-track. You can bolt it down onto a bench if you want to, or onto a piece of particle board, however you want. Plywood, mount the thing. You need to mount it. It's going to fly away if you don't. One other thing, I suggest you use dust extraction with this because the amount of dust and shavings that comes out of this thing is unbelievable. They just pour out the side. When you get it, it should be zeroed. Now these bolts here, this is a bolt that's got a valve seat basically on the end of it. Same kind of thing, a valve seats into the head on a motor. Same kind of thing here. These guys here are designed to, and I'll bring it down to there. I'm hoping I've got the right blade in there. I do. I'll bring it down until it comes back and actually touches. The blade hits and then it goes a little bit loose. And then you can see it's just starting to touch the blade there at 0. So now I'm going to go, how many did it say I have to go? 11.2 for a 1 inch dowel. So I'm going to rotate that 11 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Was it 11 neat? 11.2. So I'm on 0, I go 1, 2. Now that's it. Now the other thing is they say that the blade here, I'll see if you can see it here. See how it moves like that? It has to have the bottom of the blade pushing against the side wall there. So we hold it there, and I'm going to tighten that up with the spanner. Undo this. The blade with the round on the corner, it's the front blade. So you just got to wobble it around till it gets a grip, pushing against there so that the bottom is pushed up against there nicely, and tighten. Now we're going to put the back blade in. You notice that the hole there, that slotted hole, is a whole lot more exposed than the front blade is. We'll pop this in and we'll zero it. Pop that there for the second. Okay, so turn this until it touches. Okay, it's just starting to there. Again on 0. Now, for 1 inch, it says down here where you have to go for the elevation, rear blade elevation is 7.5 turns. So that's 0. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.5. I think it was 7.5. Yes, that's it. Tighten the lock nut. And then put in the bolt that's going to hold it steady. There it goes. And I'm making sure, see how it's got the wobble there? I'm making sure that it's pushing back against here. All right. We need to put the bush in there. Now the bush is a 1-inch bush. There's an indent in the side of this bush and a taper in, which guides the dowel from the rough cutter after it's gone through the smooth cutter to hold it steady so it doesn't wobble around. On the side here you'll see there's a small Allen grub screw. We'll pop this in here and then slowly rotate it whilst we nip this. There we go. I didn't tighten it up too much. Now that is set. Now we need to have a drill, and it's got to be a strong drill. There's no two ways about it. You've got a 3/8 drive, and I'm putting that in my drill here. And there's this massive socket that they give you. Look at the size of this thing. I'm going to put that onto there. Now, I need some 1.1/8 stock. So I'm going to go and get some of that. I ripped down some 1.1/8 by 1.1/8, which is close enough to 29 millimeters in pine. Probably best to avoid timber with knots in it, because that might get a little bit ugly in this. Now I have cameras set up all around me, and I've even got the headset here, and we will be watching from every position. I'm going to do this first pass without any dust extraction, and you will see what I mean. There is just truckloads of shavings come out of the side of this. You turn the drill on full bore to start, but you feed it in slowly. All right, now you see there, it's not going in. It's just missing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fine adjust. Now this is normal. This isn't a stuff up on Dave's behalf. I'm going to loosen the locking screw, and I'm going to retract the whole assembly back into the dowel maker by possibly 2 of those indications. So undo that. And now I'm in a situation where I can loosen the locking nut. I'm going to turn it 2. So at the moment I'm just past 2. I'll take it back to 0. The indicator there beside 0. Fix that lock nut to it. Tighten the locking screw. Oh, make sure that we're up against the edge there. Just here. Now we'll give that a try. All right, here we go. That's going in. It's coming out the other end. Pretty amazing. Now I'm going to stop it there, and we're going to check the diameter of that dowel, because we can also adjust as we're going through. Again, I can adjust this end backwards and forwards, but that's not a bad looking dowel. That first little bit, you're going to get some rough stuff, but that doesn't matter. It's this part here. This little part at the beginning, you could even say it's a little bit of snipe at the beginning as it's getting into the jig correctly. So we'll go to inches, fractions, 125, 1/28, which is pretty good. We're getting close to the thickness of that bush. We can open it up ever so slightly, which means we're going to now make that go out that way further. They say not to use your exotic timbers at the beginning, and you can see why. They suggest you try it on a piece of pine, which is what we're doing here. I'm going to go 2 turns. Take it up to 8. There we go, on that point there. And I'm pushing on the top to bring the blade back against the body. Nip it, tighten there. See how we go. Continue with this one piece of timber. Let's see how that is. 127 128ths of an inch. Now that would only be one more turn and I've got it there. So that was making a 1-inch dowel, and it did it really, really well. Next thing to do is to go down to a smaller diameter dowel, and we'll start that in a second. I'm going to do a 5/8 of an inch dowel. To do that, I need to get the insert, which is going to reduce the diameter of everything in here, because when I put it in, this is a piece of 3/4 inch stock. It wobbles all over the place, nothing's going to work. Putting a piece of timber this diameter in, you can see that it's going to be passing past the first blade, which will be mounted here. The height of the blade is important. The original setting of the blade is important because it has to maintain that center as it's cutting. Even though the blade's set at an angle, it's going to be slicing it rather than chopping it. When we're using the reducing tubes, we need to zero the cutters to start. So I need to put it in there, wind this up until it starts to push it away. See, there it is, on naught. That one is zeroed, and I'll do the rear cutter as well to be zeroed, like so. See, it's starting to push it away. I'll go back until it releases it. There we go, on 0 there. So both those blades are zeroed. Now we can put the insert in. Like so. It's important that both of them are, if not in line, slightly below the body there. The cutters are going to come out way past that, so it's not going to be an issue. Now this is a 5/8 that we're doing, so it's 6 and 3.8. So I'll come out 3.8. 1, 2, 3. There's 4. Let's see if that's going to be right. I'll bring it back 0.2 in a second. 0.2 come back to there. Okay? There. Rotating it so that it's pushing back against there. The bottom of the blade down here is pushing back there. Then we're going to tighten up the lock nut with the spanner. Back this back just a touch. Got it? And the front one has to be 5/8 of an inch, is 6 rotations out. We'll do that to start. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And it says 6, beautiful. We'll tighten up the lock nut. Gotcha. Slide the blade in. And pushing it so that down there is where it's touching it. There she goes. For some reason they stick at the beginning, I don't know why. Tighten that up, give it a nip. And the back one, that one went in fine. Again, I'm pushing on the top here and holding it in, fingers away from the cutter, and give that a nip. We need on the back here, the bush is a 5/8, so we'll look down here for the 5/8 bush. I think it's that one. 5/8, and it has the indent there as well, a taper for the dowel to be held in position so that it doesn't wobble around after it's been cut. Pop that into there. Okay, now I'm all set to do my test. See that it fits in there okay, and as it's going in, it's going to start cutting. I need another socket. Put that one back in the kit, and I think it will be that one, which is the 3/4, of course it is. Pop it in there, put the stock in. Beautiful. Let's measure it. Oh, look at that. 5/8. How cool is that? 5/8 straight away. Last thing I'm going to do is show you how to blade set. Because you're going to want to do it, because you're going to sharpen. Give me a second, I'll take this off. So the projection of the blade from the cap screw, this is the cap screw here, is the distance from there to that flat. See the flat there? We're going to set that using this little guy. This is stepped. One side is deeper than the other. The back blade is set to this side. The front blade is set to the side that the magnet is on. All right, so this is the front blade. Remember the front blade has that curve. Okay, so we pop it on there and you'll see that I have set it already. But what I'm going to do is I'll take you through the process. Do not try and hold this with the spanner. If it slips, you're going to be in trouble. Put it in a vise and you release it. I'm going to pop that on there and bring it back till it touches there. Pull it back and wobble it around a little bit until you feel it grab a hold of the flat that's on that mount, the blade mount. Then I can turn it. And there you go. That is the front blade set to the right depth. Next one, the rear blade. The flats on the side of the blade mount go into the jaws of your vise. We crack it open with the Allen key. Tighten that vise up a little bit better than that, David. And as I say, we use the short distance, not the side with the magnet, the other side with that little step there. And we pop that onto the blade, like so. Pull the blade back until it makes contact with that flat that's on there, and then tighten it up. You have to tighten a fair whack. That's done. Now, one of the things that Veritas also suggests is that you create some V blocks and you mount them on the bench to act as someone tailing out for you. You know, if I'm putting timber through one of my larger machines here, it's always good to have someone on the other side pulling the timber through and holding it steady for me. Same kind of thing with this. They do suggest to make a V block that you mount to your bench, and as the timber comes out, it stops the timber vibrating, because there's only a very short distance here between the cutter and the guide bush to hold it steady, and then it can start to vibrate and bounce around. So as I say, a guide of some sort out here, read the instruction book. It'll show you how to make some V guides. Put a few of them along if you're going to make a long dowel. If you want to make dowels out of exotic timbers, this is going to be something that you may want to consider. I have never seen dowel made out of purple heart, but if I wanted to now, I could do it. I don't know why I would do it. Maybe I'd like to make some purple heart dogs for my Stanton bench. That could be an interesting project. If you like what I'm doing, give me a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, click that button down there, keep on coming back, and I shall see you next time. Bye. Oh, what a wonderful thing. Oh, what a great bench.